All right, on today's episode, I welcome on a very special guest. He is David Shepard. He's a CBS Sports Radio national sports writer, and he is a SiriusXM NBA producer. David, how are you today?
I'm good, Jeff. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you making time for me. You know, this episode's going to be a little bit special because I'm a big NBA fan, so I'm excited to have you on the show to talk to me about some NBA and your thoughts on the finals.
Sure.
First of all, I want to ask
Wait,
you.
time out. Just quick. Wait, we're having an NBA Finals?
Oh yeah, I know, right?
You mean that's not a varsity versus freshman team?
It's a little shocking, right? Because I wanted to ask you, it's like, what? I can't believe that the Heat are in it.
I can't. You know what? Honestly, I'm watching this and I'm thinking to myself, is this the first round? Like that was a first round game. I mean, LeBron going for, 25, 13, 9, AD, 34, I want to say 9 and 5. I know they played a significant amount of minutes, but my God, I mean, I got to tell you, Bam looked a little scared. You know, Bam was looking pretty good. I know he got hurt, but he was looking damn good in that Eastern Conference Finals, you know, particularly when Daniel Tice didn't know how to guard him anymore. But he looked a little timid. You know, the late, I don't know how in the world that Heat team beat the Bucks. And I say they beat the Bucks 2.5 games because Giannis was really hurt, the second half of game 3. But they swept in the first round. They outplayed the Celtics. And that, game 5 could have gone either way. I think they blew that lead. I don't know how – this is the worst team I've ever seen make an NBA Finals. There's a reason why Jimmy Butler has not gotten out of the Eastern Conference or Western – he hasn't even gotten out of the second round in his 8-year career before this. I know it's his 9th year in the NBA, but in 8 years before, he has never made it out of the second round. And there's a reason for that, even though he played well. So what am I saying?
Yeah, it's weird. I did not, like you had mentioned, like I'm shocked that they just came in hot. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's all the rest. Do you think that plays into it though? Like all the rest that like help them out?
No, because if you look at the Blazers series, everyone was kind of in the same situation. But then the Houston series, they had rest because they won in 5 against Portland. And then against the Nuggets, they had rest because they won in 5 against the Rockets. Jeff, it's just their time.
Yeah.
It's like this is like the conversation now. And I'm gonna do a piece on this in a little bit. But the conversation now is how many are LeBron and AD gonna win? It's not even, to me, it's not even, is this going to be a sweep or not? I mean, you go on I want to think, so correct me if I'm wrong, this sounds about right. I'm trying to think of the top of my head. The Heat were up 13 in the first quarter, okay?
Yep.
And then the Lakers closed on a 19-3 run. And then I believe they went on a 24-5 run in the second. And then I believe they went on a 17-3 run in the third quarter. You're not supposed to do that in the NBA Finals.
It's very true because that sounds like, and like you had mentioned, it sounds like a varsity versus JV game, or it sounds like a number 1 college team versus the last ranked college basketball team or Division III college basketball team.
Well, let me ask you this question. You're a big NBA guy.
Yeah.
And I'm having this debate right now with a lot of people. Now, you got to remove Kevin Durant, right?
Okay.
Because of the injury. Is Anthony Davis the second best player in the world, or is he the first best player in the world and LeBron's the second best player in the world? Basically, to simplify that, are we looking at the 2 best players in the world on the same team?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think that AD is kind of at that point where I think he's going to start taking the realm over LeBron. I think LeBron's age is starting to play a little factor, but LeBron's that good 2-man guy.
Wait. Is age starting to play a little factor? Did you see the last 2 games?
I know, but still, I mean, I think with AD on the rise, I think LeBron could be a good second guy because I think he's willing to hand over the realms to AD in that team.
Wait, you think Anthony Davis is better than LeBron? Now?
At this moment, I think AD has helped out that team more than anyone.
Wow.
I think I like LeBron, and don't get me wrong, I think LeBron's a great player, but I think I think this is the best player that LeBron's ever played with too, right? It's the only guy that's averaged, he's averaging close to 30. He's a well-rounded, center, stretch 5. They haven't really seen that before. I don't think LeBron's ever played with a guy like that before. I mean, he was supposed to have Kevin Love, but Kevin Love really never stepped up to be in that point. But I think that AD is kind of taking that next step. I think LeBron's a great player. I think not to get me wrong, but I think the COVID kind of helped out with all the rest that he kind of got through all this.
Yeah, I'll give you that. It's amazing. You're right, Jeff, about AD, because people forget. There was a very acrimonious, very bitter ending between him and the Pelicans, and so that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, especially the purists of the NBA. But this was a guy by the age of 25 who was not once, not twice, but 3-time All-NBA first team in New Orleans. 3-time All-NBA first team. And a lot of people forgot how great this guy was. He just didn't have – look, we know what Alvin Gentry is at this point, right? Yeah. I don't think Monty Williams is that great of a coach. He may be, but he wasn't with New Orleans, in my opinion. And I also think that, if you look at the guys around him, the best player he had was Drew Holiday. And we saw what happened, when Anthony Davis wasn't on the Pelicans. There was this big push to get them into that 8th seed, and a lot of people, theorize that that's the reason why there were so many teams and there was an expanded amount of NBA teams in the bubble, because they wanted to see Zion getting that 8th spot going against LeBron and company as a 1 seed. Yeah. But Anthony Davis, to your point, I've never seen a big with his touch, his skill, his talent, and he's playing like a man possessed right now. He's just got that dog in him right now. I didn't see that in New Orleans.
No, I didn't either. To be honest with you, I didn't see that either in New Orleans. And I'm, like you said, I don't think we've seen this best version of AD yet. And I think there's more to come.
That's a great point. He's just 27. And, listen, because of how he's handled things, he's gotten more rest than other guys at his age.
Yeah, it's true. It's crazy. And like you said, like the Zion, like they're trying to push to get, New Orleans in there. But, I think this is going to be, I think AD, you're going to have that AD KD talk. I think once, LeBron gets in his 38 age range, because those two guys are still the two, I think in my eyes, are the two most dominant players we've seen. We have 2 7-footers handling the ball, being able to shoot the ball, have good touch around the rim. AD is just a solid center himself, but he can also play the stretch 5. And even in college, you could kind of see how well he was doing. I mean, he did well with that Kentucky team that they had.
Yeah, he was a 5th leading scorer on that team, right?
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. And that team, man, Gilchrist and and Terrence Jones, I believe, and Darius Miller and Darren Lamb. That's 7 NBA players.
Yeah.
We're seeing a very, very dangerous basketball player right now. I can't think of anyone that compares to him at his size, because the thing, and I hope Giannis is watching, by the way, because you can see with Anthony Davis, he's comfortable going against bigger guys and using his quickness. He's comfortable going against smaller guys and getting them down low and being able to turn around over the shoulder, knock down that jumper consistently. Being able to – now, Giannis has the playmaking ability. I shouldn't put that past him. But Anthony Davis's offensive game is lethal. And when Giannis goes against really good defenders, they build a wall. I'm not to use that expression half-heartedly, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah,
right? So they create a barrier in which he cannot penetrate. And he's forced to take that 10, 15 mid-range shot. Giannis has not developed that yet. He does not shoot it with confidence. AD – those are basically automatic. The touch that he has been able to, because I didn't see that touch in college. I saw the athleticism, I saw the skill, I saw the raw talent, I saw the IQ. I didn't see the shooter. He's become a great shooter. If you look at what he does at the free throw line, he doesn't miss.
No, and it's crazy how much, and against the Nuggets too, I don't think you'd ever see like a 7-footer hit a game winner too for a 3.
Oh, whoa, no. Well, if we're going to get technical, he is 6'10".
I mean, a center position, I don't know, a stretch 4, 5.
Well, so now remember, now that's the thing about him, is he's not a 5.
Yeah.
He's never been a 5, and he doesn't want to be a 5.
Yeah.
Anthony Davis, that's why everyone says, people say this, the narrative about Jokic for the last 2 months has been Nikola Jokic is the best center in the NBA. Well, if you remove Anthony Davis, Giannis, and Joel Embiid.
Yeah,
right?
That's true. Yeah.
Right? Because in no way, because it's Anthony Davis, to me, tell me if you like this comparison. He's the Tim Duncan of his era. He's the greatest 5 that plays a 4.
Yes, I agree with you. That's actually a really good comparison. Oh, Dave, are you in?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was listening. I was ready for you to.
Yeah, I think that's a really good comparison.
And you ended it.
Yeah.
You're supposed to go more with that. It was
I'm sorry. Yeah, I think that's a good comparison.
Yeah.
I mean, I was thinking around KG too as well too, because KG was also that one, but I don't think he has that intensity as KG in that sense. I think that Tim Duncan is that he's got that like quiet attitude, but he's also that Tim Duncan mentality. He's just a good player, could shoot the ball well, but KG also is like that intense defensive player too. But I could definitely see the Tim Duncan comparison.
You know, I want to go back to Game 6 too. Yeah, you remember that Game 6 Heat Celtics in which the Celtics just stopped playing in the fourth quarter.
Yes, because I am a Celtics fan, unfortunately.
Right.
You remember that?
Well, yeah. Let me get to that in a second. But what it amazes me is when the Heat made the run that they did in the fourth quarter, they were a little too excited. I remember thinking to myself, man, they're really going all out with this celebration. Like you see like Andre Iguodala, like doing the whole like lower airplane thing. I don't see LeBron doing it anymore. You know what I mean? I don't see AD doing that.
Yeah.
I don't see Rajon Rondo doing that. You know, it's like the Heat are happy to be there, but they don't believe they can win. That's I mean, even Tyler Hero, you know, as much skill as he had, you know, being careless with the basketball, not, you know, making winning plays. Rondo makes winning plays. He has for his entire, I believe he's a Hall of Famer, by the way. I don't get the dip in the regular season. I don't get why his game falls off so much, because there is truth. I know he doesn't like the nickname, but there is truth to playoff Rondo. I've never seen someone in the last 5 years be so good in the playoffs and so abysmal in the regular season. Now, he was always good in the regular season with the Celtics. I don't need to tell you that. He was great. But when he got to Chicago, you know, when he got to the Pelicans, when he got to the Lakers, his game just doesn't translate in the regular season. I don't understand it. When the game slows down, he's one of the best point guards in the NBA still. And that's impact. If you watch this game, watch the pace of play. What am I saying? When I say you, I mean the general you, not you, because I know you watched it.
Yeah.
You watch the game. Look at the pace of play. Look at how he dictates possessions. Look at how he knows exactly where to get it to a guy. Look at the angles he takes with the basketball. Look at when he knows exactly what spot on the court he's going to shoot, despite the fact that he doesn't have a great three-point percentage. He knows his spots. That Lakers team is dangerously intelligent and good. Danny Green. I mean, the championship pedigree he has, right? Dwight Howard is playing with a fervency and an aggression that I've never seen from him. You know, this is a guy that was out of the league last year. He was on his way out of the league. And for whatever reason, Pelinka and company, probably LeBron at the end of the day, said, you know what, we got to give this guy a shot. It is amazing to watch this team. And if Kuzma can ever get a consistent jump shot, if he can ever be that third guy for them, ever, this team is going to go on a run like we haven't seen in a long time.
I fully agree. And I think one of the biggest questions too, and I think it's all proving us wrong, was like, I remember a lot of people questioning the Lakers bench and what they had and what their bench was going to do and how deep they were. And I just like feel like that just got like thrown out the window the minute we like started, like the playoffs started playing. And then as soon as Rondo came back too, I think like you had mentioned, the playoff Rondo is a factor. Like it's crazy. Like you said, this game drops in the regular season, but we have seen it change. Like we saw what he did in Chicago when he was on Chicago in the playoff team when he played against that Celtics team. And I think they actually would have beat those Celtics teams.
Agree.
Celtics team if he didn't get hurt.
100% agree. No one brings that up. You really do know this game, man. 100% agree. The first two games they're up on the road. Rajon Rondo gets hurt. They lose the next four.
Yep. Yeah.
Plays with the Pelicans for 1 year. They win their first series in God knows how long.
Yeah. And that was the year they beat Portland, I believe, right?
They swept them.
Yeah.
They swept them.
Yep.
Now, he's not there anymore. We know what happened. We know the saga that happened the very next season, right? Yeah. That team quit. That team was so bad. They quit on Gentry, in my opinion, especially Anthony Davis. They quit. They quit in the middle of the season last year. And by the way, in my opinion, they also quit in the bubble.
Yeah.
So it does, show some of the culture that exists in New Orleans. I think Griff is a great, executive vice president. I think he's a great, manager of people and leaders. So we'll see what happens with that. What's interesting to me is a lot of people got down on Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. A lot of people felt like he was a stiff. I got to tell you, look, he's not going to be mistaken for Klay Thompson, right? He's not going to be mistaken for Devin Booker. He's never going to be those guys. We know that. Yeah. But he's a really good NBA player.
I agree. I think he does well on the defensive end. And then he also just he's had some bad moments in the regular season where he's had 1 or 0 points per game and everyone gets on him. But he's that factor still where you're still going to play defense on him because he can still shoot the ball no matter what, or he can get hot.
Always. He's got a great shot. And he was great in Detroit.
Yeah.
A lot of people forget. He was one of the youngest when he might have been his second or third season in the league, but he was a very, very prolific three-point shooter. Even at a very young age. There's not many guys, and I know this because I just remember watching him when he was a Piston. There's not many. It reminds me a little bit of Buddy Hield now. Yeah. Buddy Hield doesn't, listen, Buddy Hield might be a little better. But in terms of being a three-point assassin, for what Pope was doing at his age in Detroit, there's very few guys that were that proficient and that explosive from the three-point line as Pope. And I feel like he got to the Lakers, and it's tough to play with LeBron. It's tough because LeBron does so much. So it's not easy to get a rhythm with LeBron. There's a reason why Kyrie left, right? There's a reason why Wade's numbers dipped a little bit and Bosh's numbers dipped a little bit. And then when LeBron left, their numbers obviously ballooned. There's some guys where you play with a Steve Nash and a Jason Kidd, your numbers balloon instantly. But because LeBron is so ball dominant, especially in his Heat days, and I should say even his Laker days in his first year, he was as much of a scorer, if not more of a scorer. Now, what LeBron's done, and very geniusly so, is he said to himself, I'm going to give my chances for the championship run to be as a ball facilitator, not a ball handler, not a ball shot maker. And it's paid off in dividends, and they're 3 games away from being the 2020 champions and tying the Celtics for, I believe, the 17th. Yep. NBA title, which would obviously be tied for the Celtics with the most. And then it's on to number 2. We'll see what happens with KD and Kyrie. We'll see what happens with Steph, Clay, Draymond, and Wiggins, and whatever lottery pick they end up with. I'm fascinated to see what happens next year. But I tell you what, the teams I see in the bubble, there's no one playing in the bubble I see is going to challenge the Lakers. Nobody.
No, I agree. I agree with you. I think I didn't think them to make. I thought it would be Clippers, Lakers in the conference finals. I thought we were gonna have the battle for LA, and I thought that was actually gonna be our real championship. But I totally agree. It's weird. It's interesting to see, and it's gonna be interesting to see what a team like the Celtics and the Sixers do to kind of hopefully take that next step forward to make it to the finals and see what they can do to help themselves to get a little bit better. Because even the Milwaukee Bucks, because I don't for them to get beat by the Heat like they did, I think it shocked everyone. And it's still shocking that the Heat are still in the finals.
Very true, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. Now, I got a couple questions. I got a question for you. Do you think the Heat could steal a game out of there or no?
No. Not. There's no shot. With Goran and Bam, getting hurt the way they did, their status is still up in the air. Butler being hobbled. Duncan Robinson is Duncan Robinson. He is who he is. Tyler Hero is who he is. He's a 20-year-old, very talented rookie, but his game shrinks. It seems like in the NBA Finals so far, there's a reason why 20-year-olds don't win MVPs, with the exception of Magic Johnson. So LeBron and AD, man, they're too focused right now. They're too laser vision right now. There's no way they're giving up a game. They're not taking their foot off the gas pedal, not for a second.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. And it looks like they just flipped the switch from they won within a bubble when they had their struggles to now we're looking at probably one of the most dominant teams.
Yeah, and remember, LeBron, he smells it. He smells it. I mean, it's one of those things that they know this is theirs. They know it. They believe it 100%. This is theirs. They're going to win every game. It's just one of those things. It's once you get to that stage, you see the finish line 5 meters ahead of you. You're going to give everything you have right now. This is the sprint. This is the Lakers sprint. And, again, LeBron hasn't won in 4 years now. So there's a lot of motivation there to get there quickly.
Yeah. And he did mention that he was he was still pissed off about the Mavericks loss when he was on the Heat last
Right.
night on his post-game interview. What do you think this does for like LeBron's legacy? Do you think where does that move him up in that GOAT talk? I know everyone argues about him and Jordan.
Right. Well, to me, this is a guy you're going to make an argument. This is what it comes down to. And I heard Jeff Van Gundy talk about it on the broadcast last night. You can have the better debate all you want. I believe Michael Jordan's better than LeBron. I believe Kobe's better than LeBron, believe it or not. I would say LeBron's top 5. I would say Jordan, Kobe, Kareem, Magic, and LeBron. That's my top 5. And I would say like Russell, Wilt, Bird, Duncan. Like then the next group of guys are the 6 through 10. But for me, he's going to have the greatest career to ever live. That's what he's going to have. He's going to have the greatest NBA career in the history of the association. Wow. What his numbers are on the playoffs, what his numbers are in the regular season, he's going to end up with at least 4 titles. We'll see what happens with the Finals MVP. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah,
that's going to be very interesting. But yeah, I mean, he's an iconic Mount Rushmore player, and the game is going to certainly miss him whenever he's gone. He's a once in a lifetime player.
Yeah, it's interesting because he is. I agree with you about Michael Jordan and Kobe being better than him because I just grew up with those guys, so I know, like watching them and seeing him play and seeing some of the moves he's made. I think I'm just not the biggest fan about him, but he did what he had to do. But I think you're right. I think you said probably one of the best careers that we'll ever see. So many accomplishments, so much he's done in his career, and just made on his way to win a championship with his 3rd team, which is a lot to say. But he's got some good players to play with him, and we'll see what happens in that MVP talk. Interesting.
So Jeff, that's where you nailed it. That's where you're spot on. That's why you can't give him it, because every single time he's won, he's picked his teams.
Yes.
Every single time he's won. Michael Jordan. Now, yes, he had a say in it, but he didn't orchestrate his team where he got this player off the team and he got this player on the team. He won where he was drafted, and that means something. And Michael didn't go to the Lakers. He didn't go to the Celtics. He didn't go to the 76ers. He went to the Bulls. And you say you studied the game, and I believe you. Name me a player on that 1984-85 roster or any Bull before that.
Any Bull before that?
Any Chicago Bull.
I don't know. Anyway, was it not Anthony Davis? I don't know. They had a guy that didn't.
You get my point, but you get the point though.
Yeah, think of it. Yeah. I did.
Yeah, that's the point. He went to a place. It's like if a guy coaches at Wyoming in college basketball and wins a title at Wyoming, that's more impressive than Mike Krzyzewski winning 5 titles at Duke.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
And if LeBron would have won, if he would have won in Cleveland in 2007 against the Spurs, he would have, to me, that's more impressive than any title he's had, even 2016. Because as great as he was in 2016, as great as he was playing with an all-time great talent in Kyrie Irving. Yep. Now, if he would have won that game if he would have won 4 games, I should say, in 2007, Mo Williams was his 2nd best player.
Yeah. And they had Ilgauskas too, right?
Right. Okay. And both, don't get me wrong, both very good NBA players.
Yeah,
but those guys are not legitimate 2nd best players on a championship team.
No. And I think there was something too when we all saw him play against the Detroit Pistons team and come back and actually beat them. And that one overtime game that he just went off and went crazy. We're like, oh my God, we could be seeing this greatness. And like you said, if he had won that championship, I think that was his greatest championship because he did it with no one. Yeah.
I mean, Donnell Marshall was on that team, but
yeah, big name, but yeah, it's it would have been interesting. But what are your thoughts on who's going to win the MVP?
Finals
MVP, yeah.
I would say AD. I you know what? That's going to be interesting. Whoever plays the better game in Game 2, because it was a toss-up for Game 1, in my opinion. I think you can go either way with who was the best player. I think maybe AD might have edged him. Whoever plays the better game in Game 2, I think is going to win the MVP. Because I just think that's the game where you really feel. Or you know what? I know I'm waffling on this. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. I would think AD. I would think AD, just because I feel like he's got a little more gas in the tank. Just being significantly younger, being very significantly, more fresh because of the wear and tear LeBron's put on his body for all of these NBA finals throughout his career. I would say AD if I had to go with someone, but I wouldn't be surprised either way. I know the finals MVP is not going to J.R. Smith. That I'll put on the lock.
What about Alex Caruso? Do you want to make a bet on that?
Well, he's playing well. I wouldn't rule that out.
Yeah, I know.
He's playing well.
Yeah, I know. I think you're right. It's a toss-up. I think maybe AD might get it, but who knows? Like you said, it could depend on the next game, or it could depend on the third game. Whoever has the better one of the two.
I think it's interesting. You know what? I'm thinking about this. They might go co-finals MVP. Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, that would be interesting. Would that be a first?
Yeah, there's never been a co-finals MVP.
Because I know there's been one for a losing team.
Yeah, that there has been.
Yeah.
Jerry West, 1970. Right. Yep.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And then, I don't like co-MVP would be interesting between the two of them. I mean, they're just the two dominant players. It'd be interesting what they do going forward after this bubble's over with, and what NBA is going to shape out to be like next year with KD and Kyrie coming back.
Exactly. It's going to be interesting next year. That's for sure.
Yeah. It's going to be some good competition next year. I mean, like you said, Golden State has a top lottery pick. What they're going to do. Are they going to trade it? Are they going to try to sign Giannis? What's going to happen there? Yeah. But all right. That's all I have, Dave, man. I appreciate you coming on the show. This has been a lot of fun. I love talking NBA, so you're always welcome back to come on. I mean, it's so much fun. It's nice to talk basketball with someone.
Sounds good, Jeff. You do a really good job, man. I appreciate you having me, man. Thank you again.
I thank you for your time and everything, man. And I really appreciate it. You have a great one.
My pleasure. You do the same.
Thanks.